Welcome back to another weekly Forex forecast, traders. I'm FX Telepath, and we will take a look at the DXY first. I've been getting tons of comments saying, Kevin, how dare you say the dollar can go up? And I mean, we have seen the dollar react off of my zones many times, even going back to this weekly zone back here. I call that move from here to here as well, here, and then pretty much here as well, as we came back in for that second test of this weekly zone. Now, I will admit, a second test of a weekly zone, definitely not my favorite type of situation. However, like I was explaining last week, is this entire area is a monthly area of demand. You can see on the chart now, the monthly demand zone that I have mapped out and a liquidity trap there as well. So that's why I think it's possible we do even see the dollar rally out to this weekly supply at 103.06. I'm not saying we are going to get that move yet, but what we will be watching are the lower time frames. Now look, on the daily chart, okay, it is looking strong, at least for this sequence of time here. However, we just broke that lower low last week, and things are looking really, really weak right now. So it is looking to me like maybe we are just testing the trend line and we are going to continue to push down. That is definitely possible. All I know this week is I will be watching this downward trend line. If the downward trend line respects, then it was most likely just a small reaction off of that weekly zone, and we might most likely will be pushing back down. If we break the trend line, I'm going to be definitely a little bit more bullish than I am now. However, we still have this daily supply to get through as well. That's going to definitely be a area of supply. We could definitely see a move off of the downside. So as we push up to this daily downward trend line, there's a couple things we want to watch. The first thing is on the 1 hour time frame. It is definitely possible we do just retrace down to this 1 hour demand at 97.91 and then rally up off that demand to continue to go up to test that daily upward trend line. So as we are pushing down here on the dollar, I think we definitely could see price at least hesitate at the zone. I'm not saying we're going to get a huge move off the zone, but it is a decent zone, a nice rally-based rally with a very aggressive move away. So I think it is an area we could see the dollar rally to the upside off of. We also want to be monitoring this 4 hour upward trend line, as this is going to kind of be our day trading time frame trend. If you're day trading the dollar, this trend is pretty much going to tell us what the highest odds situation is. So as long as this trend line is holding, I personally think looking for longs on a 15-minute time frame or lower is going to be pretty good on the US dollar pairs. We also want to be watching this very proven area of supply. You can see this supply was created back here. We got 1, 2, 3 reactions off of this supply zone now. So if we do remove that supply zone, any demand there on the 4 hour chart, it's going to be a significant area, in my opinion, that we will be watching. So for now, we have to monitor this 4 hour upward trend line, the 1 hour area of demand down below, and the daily downward trend line to see what's taking place. But as long as this 4 hour trend and the 1 hour demand's holding, I'm going to be definitely at least short-term bullish on the US dollar. On to the forecast for the euro US dollar on the weekly time frame. Obviously, all the trends are to the upside. Not my favorite price action here. I mean, even if the euro pulls all the way back, everybody's probably going to be wanting to short, and that's a great dip buying opportunity on the weekly time frame. It's just, I don't know if we're going to get that pullback down there. It's really not looking like it. And on the daily time frame, obviously, beautiful daily upward trend. Even if we break the daily upward trend, we have that correlated opposite inverse demand zone down below compared to the dollar on the euro here. So a pretty good demand zone down below for potential swing trading longs. And obviously, just the inverse of the dollar as well. We have that drop supply at 117. It's actually a very good zone. I mean, I like that it removed a demand, but look at the explosive move away. That's what we are looking for. We're not looking for little boo-boo candle moves away. We are looking for strong, aggressive moves out of the zone like this. And if you guys want, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying these forecasts, and hit that like button as well. Be much, much appreciated. I do these forecasts every single week for free. So decent supply zone up there on the euro. If you want to look at it on the 4 hour chart, I think that's fine, because the 1 hour supply, I just pointed out, is involved in this. It's basically inside of this overall 4 hour supply. So if you want to be a little bit more conservative, this is our 4 hour supply zone for a potential short trade. And it's within a downward trend as well. So it's actually pretty decent. And if you don't feel comfortable just with an entry, stop loss, and a take profit below, that's completely fine. We could be just day trading short in here, looking for that confirmation on a 15-minute time frame or lower. And if we do continue to push down, I personally think profit margin is easily down to 115. This is a very good area of demand on the 4-hour chart. What I would like to see for longs off of this demand zone is to get another reaction off of this liquidity area that was created back here to kind of prove that there's liquidity and stop losses here. So then that buying area becomes much better in my opinion. So that's what I would prefer down there. You still can be getting in long at the zone. It's just kind of an older zone. So when that happens, I like to see liquidity trap first, then get the pullback. So that's what I would prefer. I'm not saying we're going to get that. That's just what I prefer. So we'll see what takes place. So for now, it is day trading shorts all the way on a 15-minute time frame, and pullbacks down to this demand zone could be good for potential long trades as well. If you want to short trade that pullback, that is our supply zone short at 117 on the euro US dollar. Alrighty, on to the forecast for gold. We finally broke out of that range the last couple weeks here on gold, and pretty explosively in my opinion. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 weekly green candles here on gold. Even if we do get a pullback to 34.47 or below 3,500 down to 3,000, I'm going to be still bullish on gold. I am praying for this pullback. This would be a great buying opportunity for precious metals, in my opinion. So it's a great trend to the upside. We definitely want to be favoring longs. If we retrace down and we get a deep pullback, this is our nearest daily demand at 36.86. It's a pretty good zone. I like the move away. It's a rally-based rally, or it's actually kind of a drop-based rally, whatever you want to look at it. Doesn't matter. It's just lingo. But it's a decent daily zone. You could wait for the zone to be hit. You could be looking for confirmation on an H1. Even the day trading timeframes could be good as well. At the end of the day, it's just a good daily demand zone. If we do get a deeper pullback, that we could see, you know, a potential move off of. And there's actually, I'll show you guys here in a bit, there's a 4-hour zone that's just on the tip of that zone there on gold. So moving on to the 4-hour time frame, you can see we have a beautiful upward trend, and that trend was connected down here after we got this beautiful picture perfect 4-hour rally-based rally buying opportunity here on gold. Beautiful trade that was called out in the daily market breakdown video for the Diamond members. If you want to trade alongside myself and the members, join the Diamond membership, where you will have access to the 38-page supply and demand zone PDF, which will be your complete trading guide, the daily market breakdown videos, which are forecasts that I release every single night for the members to trade alongside myself, step-by-step video lessons A to Z covering everything you need to know on supply and demand trading, the Sunday strategy Zoom session where members submit homework, and it's an interactive 1-hour call where we go over all of your homework and every trading related question, private access to myself inside of our private Discord group where I answer all of your trading related questions, and finally the Sunday live stream forecast where we break down over 30 markets together. And it's not just me. Here are some of the members and some of their trades they've been taking lately, absolutely killing it. And we also have some amazing reviews from some of the past members sharing their experience within the group. So if you're ready to trade alongside myself and the community, join the Diamond membership today. Links in the description down below. So this trade's already worked out, already called out, beautiful move. We are hoping at this point to get a pullback down to this 4-hour demand and mimic what we did down here. So that would be a great dip buying opportunity at 36.97. And if you notice, I don't know if you can see these dotted lines right here. This is that daily demand zone that we were just discussing. If we can pull back to this 4-hour zone, what I like about this 4-hour zone, it's right at the tip of the daily zone. So it's kind of a higher time frame analysis zone, in my opinion. The only thing I would do is I would have a wider stop loss because we want to give it a little bit more wiggle room due to the fact that we are inside of that daily zone. So if we do get the pullback, this is our nearest entry at that 4-hour zone. Again, wider stop might be a little bit better. If you want to get aggressive with our long trades, we have a nice trend line here as kind of our guide to see what is going to take place. As long as this trend line's holding, 15-minute time frame longs are going to be completely fine here on gold. And going to the 1-hour time frame, it's actually quite an interesting chart here. We actually did have a downward trend line here. I don't know why I didn't have that. So you can see there, boom, and that actually left us with a demand zone right here. So on gold now, we actually have quite a few options here on the 4-hour time frame. So we are reacting off of this, or this is a 1-hour time frame, my bad. So we are reacting off of this 1-hour supply right now. You can see it's a second test. We already got the first test off that supply. So this was not a shorting trade. I just want to make that very clear because it was already a tested zone. So if you want to trade gold now, we pretty much have two options on the 1 hour chart. We could be waiting for a long trade down at the zone. Definitely not my favorite zone. I think confirmation there might be a little bit better. Or we could simply be waiting for this very proven area of supply to be removed. Any demand zone there is going to be a good zone because it's a very proven area of supply. If the supply has been proven to have worked and there's supply there, any demand that removes that is going to be very significant. So we either want to wait for this zone to be removed, creating new demand, or we want to get aggressive with it and trade that demand zone long at 37.55. Or if you're like me, I prefer the more conservative entry, which is down here at that 4 hour area demand at 36.97. And like I said, nice trend to the upside here. So it's really longs all the way on the 15-minute time frame as well on gold. Alrighty, on to the forecast for the USDJPY. On the weekly time frame, I've been talking about this for a while. There's really not a lot to go off of other than the fact that we have liquidity down here. So I thought we could be targeting that. But obviously with the US dollar strength, we have seen the USDJPY rally, especially this past week. So we have to look at the lower time frames. I know the daily chart's not a lower time frame, but we are going to start there. So basically, we've been in a range for quite a while now. Obviously, yeah, we have broken out of this range here and there, but we really didn't contact any of the demand or the supply. We almost hit it there, and we almost hit it there. So this zone is still fresh. However, this past week, this supply actually became tested for the first time. So with this daily supply and control, yes, I am a little bit bullish on the dollar right now. However, I personally think looking for short trades off this supply zone is a decent idea, right? Because if you think about it, if you're going to be trading an H1 time frame short, you want to be trading at a higher time frame. That's just going to increase your odds. And we have a daily supply and control. So any H1 supply zones going to be a pretty good confirmation entry. You could do the same thing down here for demand. You could be looking for H1 time frame confirmation long trades. And even like it's a great opportunity. Let's say you get a nice short trade here, your profits are running. You could easily take 80% of your trade off at 3-to-1 or whatever you do and take your profits, put your stop to break even, and let the trade run out to the daily demand, right? Kind of let it run out, let it play out. It's definitely possible. I've done it before. You can do it as well. It's just a great way to kind of view you're viewing it as a higher time frame, right? To trade from daily supply to daily demand. That's kind of how you would view it there. So lots of potential opportunity. I'm not even saying that the zone's going to hold. It's just a time where the daily supply is in control. Why not potentially look for shorts? What I will say in the meantime is we need to watch this 4 hour trend. If this 4 hour trend continues to hold, I personally think looking for longs on a 15-minute time frame is going to be pretty decent. If we do get a pullback down to this 4 hour demand, I think this demand zone, we could see a small move off of it before breaking it. So not my favorite zone, but it could be. I'm just pointing it out for potential. If we do get a decent dip buying opportunity, that would be our nearest demand zone for a potential long trade, in my opinion, on the USDJPY at 146.52. But again, I'd be very aggressive with trade management. I would only look for like a 1-to-1, maybe 2-to-1 off of that zone. But for now, you could be day trading long on a 15-minute time frame. Watch that 4 hour trend. Unfortunately, on the 1 hour chart, the trend line's just kind of, this is basically just the 4 hour time frame trend. So typically when we are trading at a daily supply zone, we want to be looking for H1 trades, but the H4 is really the only clean chart I'm seeing with a clean trend line. So at this point, if we can remove that trend line, any supply zone there is going to be our confirmation trade. Again, typically you want to look from the H1, but it's completely fine to do it on the H4. It's the intermediate time frame. It's completely fine. So if you want to trade short, I wouldn't be doing it yet. I would just be waiting for this to be taken out. Any supply zone there, that is going to represent our confirmation trade. There is a pretty risky set and forget supply zone over here, but I mean, it's a great zone, great move away at 150.40. So if you want to get very aggressive with a set and forget, that would be it right there. All right, moving on to the GBPUSD, the British pound. We are coming back in for a second test at this weekly area of demand. And sometimes we will see, a zone get like, so for example, this is actually a great example right now. I would say it's a high odds chance we see another reaction off the zone if the zone wasn't tested this deep. You can see how deep the zone was tested right there. Compare that to this zone over here. I mean, look, this zone was barely wicked, right? Barely wicked in. So in my opinion, if we pull back to this zone, I think it's possible we even see a decent move off the zone because it was barely tested. But again, since this other zone up here was very deeply tested, yeah, I won't be surprised if we hesitate here, but ultimately I'm not giving it too much strength based off of that. I don't trade at tested zones anyways unless I'm looking for confirmation. Just putting that out there. And on the daily time frame, things are looking pretty weak, in my opinion, as we just removed this daily upward trend line. We still have 26 minutes left, but I'm going to go ahead and call it removed. So that has left us with a little supply zone up here. Definitely not my favorite area of supply. I almost want to draw it that big, but it's just kind of a weird zone. I don't like when my supply zones have that, but sometimes it's all you have. So this is a pretty key zone because it removed an upward trend line. So just based off of that, I mean, just think about it, right? Yes, removing a zone is a strong it's a strong sign. If we remove a demand zone or a supply zone, that's definitely, a pretty positive sign in my opinion. However, if we remove a trend line, that signals trend, right? A lot of the times we'll have sideways action and we'll see zones removed all the time. But a trend, that is more significant. So if we can get a pullback up to the supply, I think it's not my favorite zone just as a set and forget. But I personally think it's good for looking for a confirmation trade inside of that zone. There's a couple other options here on the GBPUSD. If you want to be day trading short, you want to be monitoring this downward trend line on the 4-hour chart. As long as this downward trend line is holding, you could be looking for shorts on a 15-minute time frame. Right now, I don't call this removed. I don't care what your guys' rules are. These are my own rules. So I'm just telling you what I do. Don't comment saying, oh, that's removed. It's not. According to how maybe it's removed to you, and that's fine. That's just not how I do it. So I will admit it's a very aggressive trend line. I wouldn't be surprised if we remove it, honestly. But again, if we close below it, we continue to close below it, I personally think the 15-minute and the 5-minute time frame shorts are going to be completely fine. If we do get a pullback up to this supply, it's not my favorite at 1.34. We definitely could see maybe a small move off of it. It did remove a key zone, in my opinion, that was a tested zone, so it's not bad. I do prefer the supply zone all the way up above at 1.36 though. But this is my view on the 4-hour chart. Take it or leave it. I like the trend. It's decent. If we remove the trend, then we got to be patient and wait for the supply zone to be hit above. On the 1-hour chart, we actually kind of created a liquidity trap right before this supply zone here. So if we do push up to here, react off this liquidity, I think it's an area we could see a move off of at 1.35. But for now, we just want to be watching the downward trend lines and be trading short with those downward trend lines. And again, if we break the downward trend lines, that's fine. We just want to wait for the supply zones to be hit so then we can continue to look for these short trades. Moving on to the USDCAD. This is the country I was born in and currently living in. Let me know where you guys are born and where you guys are living in the comments down below. And beautiful reaction off of this weekly trend line. It's held beautifully in my opinion. The weekly demand's held. It's looking really, really strong and correlated to the DXY as we speak. And not more importantly, but very importantly, we did remove this high, which has given us a beautiful daily upward trend. What this to me is sustainable. Momentum like this, where it's just very aggressive, not very sustainable. A nice trend, that is sustainable because there's a lot of room here, a lot of wiggle room. In my opinion, it's looking very, very bullish right now on the USDCAD. It's longs all the way. I think day trading longs are fine. If you notice here, we had a very good area of supply here on the 4-hour chart. It was a pretty decent loss. I mean, I think it's a decent zone to take. I mean, beautiful move off the away and kind of a liquidity trap here. Did get a decent move here, so it was a potential for a break-even stop loss. But more importantly, we removed this 4-hour area of supply. And we removed that 4-hour area of supply with this demand zone down below at 1.39. It's a decent drop base rally, single candle area of demand. Save the comments. I don't care. Single candle areas of demand are very good zones. I have many, many profitable trades off of single candle basings, guys. Very, very good zones. Feel free to subscribe to the forecast so you can see. Pullbacks on this 4-hour zone, definitely a decent opportunity at 1.39. Again, I always say, if you don't feel comfortable just trading the whole 4-hour zone, that's fine. If you're a day trader, then that means you could be looking for confirmation on a 15 or a 5-minute time frame. So it's completely fine to be doing both. Nice trends, looking very, very strong. It's longs all the way here on the USDCAD. Moving on to the forecast for the Aussie US dollar. On the daily time frame, pretty interesting here. We have a previous trend line. It's kind of a weird trend line. Definitely not my favorite trend line, but I mean, look at this terrible price action we've been getting in the Aussie. I mean, this was pretty much an untradable pair as far as high odds go. Finally here we started to get some action, and it's finally looking decent. Like we could get some potential trading opportunities. On the daily time frame here, we have just tested this daily trend line. It's still holding in my opinion. However, it's looking pretty weak. I think it wouldn't surprise me if we do break below this trend line here. We do have a decent daily demand zone down below that I think could hold up price if we do break that trend line. Now, like I've said this before too, when we break trend lines, supply and demand usually acts as magnets, and we will push down to the demand zone. Whether it holds or not is a different question, but it'll represent a good shorting opportunity if we do break the daily trend line. And there's actually still shorting opportunities, in my opinion, right now, as we have a very decent looking 4-hour downward trend line. All signs are pointing to the downside right now, at least in the day trading time frame. So if you are bearish, as long as this 4-hour downward trend line is holding, I like the 15-minute time frame shorts, or even lower on a 5-minute time frame as well. We have a pretty tested demand zone down below, so I think we could see some hesitation. So it wouldn't bother me looking to take profits at some of these zones, and even a fresh zone down below, I think it's good. But again, these older zones, definitely not my favorite situation. So for now, the nearest term trend is to the downside. So I personally think looking for shorts on that 15-minute time frame is going to be our highest odds situation. If we break to the upside, I wouldn't worry too much because we have a little hidden supply zone, base drop at 0.658. I like the single candle basing, beautiful aggressive move away initially, followed by an even bigger move away. So it's a very good zone. I think it's a decent trading setup if you are bearish at 0.658. But again, we got to wait for the trend line to be removed. So if you want to view it on the 1-hour chart, as long as this downward trend line is holding, 5-minute time frame shorts are good. If we break the 1-hour trend line, then we hold off on shorts until we can hit this supply, then we pound the shorts again. That's how I view it on the 1-hour chart here on the Aussie US dollar. All right, moving on to the USDCHF. We are back into this weekly zone for that second test. Not really getting the reaction like the DXY is, however, so kind of tricky. And on the daily chart, we did create a new daily downward trend line, which is good. It'll kind of give us that guide, but we are clearly testing it here. It'll be interesting to see what takes place at that daily trend line, if we can break it or not. As far as trading the Swiss goes now, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I would only really be viewing it on the 4-hour chart here because the 1-hour chart's just not really super clean. I do like the 4-hour chart view here. So if you are bullish, you want to be monitoring this trend line to the upside. As long as that trend line is holding, 15-minute time frame longs are good. You can see this purple box. This purple box represents liquidity or resistance. I mean, it's actually not liquidity. The purple box represents resistance or support. Liquidity is always above or below it. So that's what that represents. You can see it was created back here. We proved that it was liquidity there, in my opinion, which makes this zone even higher odds, in my opinion, for a short trade. It's kind of an old zone, but I do like that we reacted off of it again. I personally think having a wider stop is better here because of this weird basing. So if you do trade short at this zone, I think a wider stop would make a little bit more sense to me, and maybe a little bit aggressive with trade management as well. So as long as this trend line is holding, 15-minute time frame longs are good. You might want to look to take a little bit of profit off at this supply in case it holds. And if you're bearish, this is our supply zone for a potential short trade. If we can remove this demand, right, any demand zone there is going to be a decent opportunity as well here on the USD Swiss. And if you guys want help with trading psychology, check out my Stoic Trading Psychology podcast, available anywhere you guys get your podcasts. Just created a YouTube channel for the podcast as well, so go subscribe over to that. Trading psychology is a very, very important part of trading, and if you don't have that, I could literally give you profitable signals from my trading methodology, and you might not be able to do it because you don't have the mental stability. So that's why I do the podcast, real trading tips and advice, not some mumbo jumbo fake guru stuff with rented Lambos and all that. So make sure you guys check out the Stoic Trading Psychology podcast. Alrighty, last but not least, we are on to the forecast for crude oil. We had an updated trend line here, and that daily trend line was broken. A lot of you might be asking, why was it broken? You know, And can you give me a reason? A lot of people might say, oh, there's no reason it's broken, it's all random. It's really not, and I'm going to explain here why. But for first, I think profit margin midterm is easily up to this daily supply at 69.91. So why do I think this daily downward trend line was broken? It's very, very simple. We have a higher time frame demand zone that is in control. Now, the question is, how big of a move are we going to get off this demand zone since we are in a downtrend? So I would prefer to be shorting at a supply zone in a downtrend, but we cannot deny the strength of this demand zone, and that is why we have seen oil kind of at least even out the last couple of weeks, and now we are seeing oil push out. So I personally think looking for longs is going to be our highest option or highest odds trading opportunity, based solely on the fact that we have a higher time frame demand zone in control. So a couple ways to view this here. We just removed this 1 hour area of demand. Not surprised, it was kind of a quick pullback down to the demand zone. But more importantly, we have a nice 1 hour trend to the upside. So as long as this trend line's holding, 5-minute time frame longs are going to be completely fine, in my opinion. If you want to view it on a 4 hour chart, if we can get a pullback down to this 4 hour demand zone, that's going to be a pretty good demand zone, in my opinion, at 64.10. And what this represents, a lot of people say, what's confirmation? What's set and forget? This is a confirmation trade here. Why? Because the weekly demand is in control right here. And now we are rallying off of the weekly demand, creating a 4 hour demand zone. So our higher time frame demand right here, followed by our entry time frame demand right here. This is what a confirmation trade looks like. That is why this 4 hour zone is a lot higher odds than just some random 4 hour zone, right? And not only that, the basing's pretty decent move away as well. You might be able to even tighten up the zone just a little bit, and even a nice trend to the upside. So as long as this trend's holding, it's longs all the way. Pullbacks down to that 4 hour zone going to be pretty good there on crude oil. And like I said, monitor the 1 hour trend. But even if we break the 1 hour trend line, that's fine. It most likely means we're just going to pull back down to the 4 hour demand zone. So then we want to wait for longs when that demand zone is hit. If you guys want access to my full-length forecast, join the Diamond membership where you will have access to that, as well as my daily market forecast, the full course supply and demand PDF, and much, much more. Make sure you guys subscribe so you can catch next week's forecast as well. And I always appreciate a like. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.